There is this general conception that the more you grind, the more productive you are.
Exhausting yourself doesn't help. Once you're exhausted, what's the point? It's like working out. You have to break your muscles down and then build them back up. If you're just constantly breaking them down and you don't rest enough to build them back up, you're doing more damage than.
What are the detriments of burnouts from your own perspective, not the dictionary definition?
I've seen people that started a job, ended up going to therapy, ended up checking themselves into a cycle, because you can have a mental breakdown. If you die today, your job doesn't stop. Your position will be filled in a week or two, sometimes less.
Hello and good day. Welcome back to the show. Today we'll be looking at the power of slowing down in practically everything you do in life, and how rest becomes the new hustle, how rest improves productivity, and how it applies to every factors in life. So there is this general conception that that's grinding it out. The more you grind, the more productive you are. What can you? How do you see how that applies to real life situations?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, it's good to grind, to, hustle, but there has to be a period of time. And then you need rest to recoup, to recharge, to reconnect with your purpose, and then you continue. There's a there's a saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So, and it also depends on your life. If you're, for example, a professional athlete, you have a slow season, and then you have, when you're actually playing, you're working out a lot more than during your slow season, right? It doesn't mean you're not working, and it doesn't mean you're not sharpening your skills or working on your craft. What it means is you're not exhausting yourself. Exhausting yourself doesn't help. Once you're exhausted, what's the point, right? It's like working out. If I go to the gym every day and I'm lifting every weight every single day, every muscle every single day, it's counterproductive. You just, because you have to break your muscles down and then build them back up. If you're just constantly breaking them down and you don't rest enough to build them back up, what's the purpose? You're doing more damage, more harm than good. So, in my opinion, I think, I mean, I'm not even Christian to say, but if you think about there's every season under the sun, right? There's time to rest, a time to grind, a time to give, a time to take in a way. You're always doing, there's a time for everything. You have to be aware of the season you're in. If you're in the grinding season, you grind. When you're in the rest season, you rest, right? I don't believe in just working. If not, you work yourself to an early grave, and other people pick up where you left off and do something good with what. So I don't believe in working yourself into an early grave at all.
Yes,
It's not my logic.
I agree with you, and I share the same beliefs to your line of thoughts, and I want to bring it home. So it's we're not just talking about it from vaguely. So rest. What is rest? To everybody, it may mean different things.
Sure.
But to most people, they think it's just sleep or taking vacation or doing all that stuff. But we need to understand that rest should mean intentional stillness, in the sense
Right, that's a good one.
that we're not just saying we're resting and we're still scrolling and looking for notifications on our phone. That's not rest. So that's why I said I'm going to bring it home. Well, people just lay down and say, "Oh, I'm resting," and they're still on the phone scrolling and looking for the next notification. All that can rile your emotions, your feelings, and so you're not actually getting any rest. You're still your mental
Still reacting.
is still working and it's still reacting to what you're seeing, or any
The
news. you
different stimuli, you're
Correct.
exposing your mind to.
Yeah, so that intentional stillness is, just being void of any kind of thought and really taking time to not worry about the bills, the work, and what people are saying on social media too, as well,
Sure.
right? Or the news itself. So rest should be thorough. It should be a time to really rejuvenate, relax, and replenish your energy, and so that we can always, because this life experience, it's a journey actually, and there's no getting it all done. Nobody's gonna get out of this life experience alive. Where we all have our expiration date. That's this flesh that we are in, experiencing our, or being aware of our existence, is always going to expire someday. And to say that we're going to complete everything we ever want to is just a joke, because there's nothing, we're not going to get all of it done. But what matters is what we're going to get done. And we need our health. We need to rest. We need to replenish the energy. We need to rejuvenate to move ahead. That's my own personal opinion on this topic. And that's why I said I was going to bring it home so we can feel it. Yeah.
Now, looking at the rest, you guys said it all, but I'd like to add to the fact that it depends on the contexts. Now, if we're looking at resting in a workplace, it's different from resting in your humble abode.
I don't think we can rest in the workplace.
No, I mean, no, not rest. I mean, in terms of taking a break, freeing, thinking about something. Like, let's say you're given a task, and it's kind of, this hectic, huge task, and you're working. It gets to a point where everything becomes fuzzy, and sometimes it just pays to just get up, take 15 minutes, walk around, occupy the mind with something else. You understand? Just to
Yeah.
You're
bring
correct.
it all down. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I said it depends on the context. Now, in terms of, let's look at. I know burnout can apply to every aspect of life, but looking at the workplace now, what are the detriments of burnouts in terms of, or let's start with the definition from your own perspective, not the dictionary definition.
My definition of burnout is exhaustion and the willingness to strive for excellence, right? You're exhausted, and oftentimes if you're doing something physical like construction, you're physically exhausted. But just because you're physically exhausted doesn't mean you don't love your job. But it's the mental exhaustion that becomes an issue over time. A prolonged exhaustion leads to burnout. Everyone gets exhausted at work. You had a rough day. Project calls. Call after call, meeting after meeting. You're tired. Talking in front of people for hours. You're exhausted. It's the prolonged state, staying in that state for too long, is what leads to burnout. And some of the side effects, you don't work as hard because you don't want to be there. And a happy employee is a hardworking employee.
Right.
They tend to work harder than somebody that's just doing it just to say, I'm getting a paycheck. So you have people not working as hard, people not caring about the quality of work they're producing. And your employer expects you to produce high quality, right? Regardless of what industry you're in. So if you're not producing something of value and you don't want to be there, what comes next? Health issues, perhaps? Mental health issues? We're looking at you leaving, going somewhere else because you don't feel valued, because you feel like you're being worked, overworked, underappreciated, whether it's pay or just, your boss telling you you're doing a great job, because not everyone is motivated by pay. So if you don't find a way, and when we say rest, and I like your definition, stillness, rest, it doesn't mean sleeping, it just means sometimes an intentional break
Right.
from something that you're doing gives you some sort of a rest. You don't have to take a nap to rest or to relax. Breaking that cycle, breaking that
Prolonged.
prolonged exhaustion helps. Like you said, you have a project, you finish your project, you're mentally exhausted. Taking a 15-minute break, just to sit and just relax, calm down your brain and your nervous system. That is a form of resting. And those things are essential. And it's why, most jobs have, you get to take 10 to 15 minutes of break for every 2 hours you worked, right? Because they understand if you don't, you're fastly approaching your burnout phase. And you don't want that as an employer, because if your employees are all burned out, guess what? They end up quitting. So we're trying to limit that. So my definition of burnout is staying in a prolonged stage, or stage of exhaustion, as opposed to breaking it up to kind of giving your body some
Rejuvenation.
time to rejuvenate, to just relax and refocus on the purpose or the task at hand or something.
Yes, and that's a very excellent point there. So I see burnout from your question. Burnout is a result of lack of rest. I said earlier that rest doesn't necessarily mean sleeping or taking a vacation and then you're still on your phone while you're on vacation, all through making calls or receiving or reading or posting on the internet. So, well, let's bring it back to you. We're talking about work, the work environment, burnout in the work environment. So, I think some jobs, employers, they've started bringing this culture of, inserting time for break. Normally everybody's supposed. In some states, it's even a law that you need to take at least 13 minutes of break from work from your 8 hours period of work. It's 30 to 1 hour. And they've also, some places I've seen have also brought in wellness rooms where you can go in there and be still, actually. That intentional stillness, they are trying to bring it into their work culture to avoid burnout. And why we said sleep in doesn't necessarily mean rest. We all know that sometimes we sleep, but we're not well rested when we wake up. It's because our minds are still running, and that's as a result of too much overload from the day that we're still, even up until the time we fell asleep, we're still thinking about things that were worrying us or that was disturbing us or what we were doing during the day. So we're not even settling into sleep to get the proper rest, because rest, why I said stillness, it's shutting down from every and anything you're thinking about. And that's where you can now go into the dream state and be in that state where it's just fresh answers to whatever your problems were the previous days. Yes, that's how it's supposed to be. So because if you wake up in the morning or from any sleep, restful sleep, you should feel new or get information that is going to serve as answers to your problems or what you were thinking of the previous day or before you slept.
So now, let's talk about the effects of burnout and how rest can actually help recuperate
So
one's energy.
thank you. So before we jump into that, I'll just complete my train of thought. So A lot of employers mistake movement for success, and they measure success with your time card entered, your time entered. So, whereby they are now very, 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 very extremely micromanaging. So they micromanage you and think, oh, that's success, and make you work hard instead of trying to work smart too as well. So I remember from a personal experience when I was working with one of these financial institutions, they were very, very lax with the employees because they felt they are what makes their business still running. If they're not there, the business is not there. So they were really keen on making people show up and give their best. And it wasn't about micromanaging people, it was about putting incentives. Whereas you can walk as quick as you can if you want and take and go home if you're done with your task for the day and go rest or go do something else with your life. So it wasn't about the 8 hour shift. It was about if you, because people work differently. Some people want to be there for that 8 hours. Some people can do their work for that day in 2 hours. And what are they going to be doing? If some jobs we want to fill the remaining hours with a lot of more work, comparing you or other employees with the other with each other. Like, oh, this person is finishing their job in 2 hours. I know all of us have experienced this. Why can't other people
Using
feel,
that person as a standard.
yeah, finish their work in 2 hours and then they want to add more, and that's not right. So if the there's a target and someone is finishing it up in 2 hours, the person have the rest of the day to themselves. That's what I was experiencing in that job at the time. So yeah, we can.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, how does the burnout actually affect someone, like in the general, the broader perspective, and how does rest actually help in terms of like you say, burnouts, when there are some symptoms that shows that kind of depicts you're approaching that burnout
Phase.
level on the spectrum. Yeah. So that phase. So how does it, how from your perspective, how does it help? How does rest fit in?
Well, when you think about resting, right? When you're relaxed and you're resting, your mind is disconnected from heavy workload. You get to rethink and process things. Your ability to process improves, right? Because it's your brain doesn't really can't tell what is psychological and what is really happening around you. To your brain processes pretty much the same thing, right? Threat is seen the same way.
Right.
Just because we've moved away from being chased by lions or tigers or wild animals doesn't mean our brain has evolved significantly since then. It hasn't. The brain processes threat the same way, whether it's physical, whether it's an actual, threat in front of you or it's psychological. Your brain says the same thing. So, giving your brain time to disconnect from all that, whatever it may perceive as a threat, helps. There's better creativity when you're relaxed, when you're still. Your brain is functioning better. There's not an overload. I mean, think about it. If you dump a ton of commands into a computer, it starts to work slowly. It has to choose what is important, what is not, right? And if you continue doing that to a computer, you're going to start having, you experience some sort of a lag, right? Whether the processing unit is fine, like this is too much work, I can't process this information at the rate that is required. It's the same thing we're doing to our brains. We can't just overload it and be like, oh, function. It doesn't work like that. The brain, your body also keeps a score, right? Your body has memory of its own. And people don't think like that, but if you think about it, some people, every, let's say, there's a certain time that they're just down and depressed. You're like, and therapists know this because they work with people, and when they're talking to them, like around October, they're down. And then you start digging into their past and you find out around October, 10 years ago, they lost a loved one. And it was a hard loss, right? And they struggle with it. But then every October, nothing's going wrong in their lives, but around that time, they're always sad. They don't know why. So your body has memory and your body keeps score. You can't heal when your body is stressed, right? Inflammation prevents healing, right? When you think about that, you think about your mind constantly working and working and working. It's like driving a car full speed on a highway at all times. It's going to overheat. You're going to have issues with that car eventually. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but eventually you're going to run into issues. So we need the mind to cool down. We need our brains to just relax. Sometimes resting is meditation. I meditate in the morning, right? Wake up in the dark, sit for 10, 15 minutes, meditate, go about my business.
It's a stillness, intentional.
Intentional resting. Just because you're sleeping, like you said, doesn't mean you're resting. Because your mind is still processing things. If there's something bugging you, when I was working on my 66 Mustang, I would wake up in the middle of the night at 1 in the morning. And I'm like, oh, I could have, because I was wiring the car itself. I'm like, I should have, that's the problem. There were times at 2, 3 in the morning, I'll run to the garage and connect 2 wires. I'm like, I spent hours doing this, but I had to, take a nap. But my mind was still working. What's the point of sleeping when your mind is just working as if you're awake? So I wasn't rested. I wasn't fully rested. If you're not fully rested, you're not functioning at optimal level. And if you're not functioning at optimal level, you can strive for excellence, but it will take you much longer to get there.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean,
And I agree with that too as well. So, I think with work and how burnout can affect us is that number one, I would just be honest with you, you can end up losing that job that you're burning yourself out for.
Yeah.
Because if something happens to your health, you can't be there and you're easily replaceable. With jobs now, everybody's a number, even the CEO
Yeah, everybody's
replaceable. So that's the side effect of it too. So if you burn out, nobody's gonna cheer for you and wait till you get yourself back. They will move on, and that's how life is. So when you burn out and kill yourself about the job, and so people think again they get it wrong because we're all sprinting to the finish line. Like I said, we're not ever going to get it all done. Someone who died from an accident or even from ill health, I tell you, in his dying bed, there's all these things he said he was going to accomplish before that day. We never ever get it all done. It is what matters that we get done, and most of it is still our health. We need to rest to be healthy, to keep moving, or to do the things we like, or to enjoy life in general. So the first thing I'll say, I said it just right now, what you are dying and sprinting to protect, if you don't have the good health, you're going to lose it. So that's it for me. Burnout is going to affect you in a more detrimental way than you ever think about or think of.
correct. And now add to what you said. And just to sum it up, burnout oftentimes leads to mental fatigue, right?
Right.
Exhaustion. And in some cases, it could lead to mental health. I've seen people that started a job and ended up going to therapy, ended up checking themselves into a cycle because they're just, you can have a mental breakdown.
So
Right?
all of those encompasses burnout.
Yeah.
So that's
It
that's
can
how you
manifest.
can yeah, that's how you can, that's a kind of burnout. If you have to go to therapy because of your job, that you're killing yourself, or something is happening and you need to talk to somebody, you're already burning out. Already, that's it. That's it.
Symptoms,
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
because
symptoms.
it's different for everyone.
Yes.
Some people are burnt out, completely burnt out, and they have no real recognizable mental health issues. They just have health issues. There are people that started a job and few months into the job, they're having all kinds of mental health issues, not even mental, just
Right.
physical, just health issues. They decided to quit their jobs because it was too stressful, and it all went away within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right, so we can burn out differently. There's no
Yeah.
one way, but there's things you can look for, right? If you hate going to work and you hate being at your job, and anytime you see an email, you're all fired up and angry. First thing, don't take your job home. Your job should stay at work, should stay at work, and your person keep them as separate as possible. That's one of the things, right?
Right.
You can do when you go on vacations. To me, it's the weirdest thing. I can still work. Why? Why are you on vacation if you're still gonna work?
Right.
What's the purpose of going on a vacation, trying to recharge, recenter yourself, find your purpose, figure out what you can do better at your job? You take your phone and your laptop with you and you're working. That's not work. You might as well find a job that allows you to expense those things, right? You're not really resting. You're still connected to your job. Disconnect from work when you take time from work. Just completely disconnect from it, and just let work be work. Because, like you said, and that's true. If you die today,
All right.
your job doesn't stop. Your position will be filled in a week or two, sometimes less.
I bet you there's someone who is also eyeing your position even while you're alive. So it's not even a week is too much.
You
You
know,
already you always
your replacement is always there.
There's always a replacement for you.
Right.
That's the fact about life, and that's true. Yeah.
We've seen CEOs of big companies die. What happened to their companies? Still making trillions of dollars, still making millions of. So it doesn't matter what your position is. If you work yourself into an early grave, the job continues, right? And the truth is, when you're stressed, everyone around you suffers.
Right.
Because the best gift you can give to your loved ones and the people you care about, the people around you, is being pleasant. And I think we don't talk about that enough. The best gift to anyone around you is a very pleasant being.
They're very
When you're
aligned.
pleasant, you don't have to be
Yeah.
rich. The best gift is for people to be happy and to feel loved, seen, and appreciated in your presence. When you're burnt out, you can't. It's impossible. You're pretty much in a survival mode. Your brain is not thinking about being creative. Your brain is not thinking about really finding the root cause of problems. It's just fix, fix, fix. You become like a an animal, a person on crack or something. You just, you're constantly shifting and trying. You're not productive. You're not helpful. You're not kind. You're not loving. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's correct. And from personal experience, I've been in positions where, from work, because we're still talking about work, where I've had to hire people, go through people's resume and interview them and hire them. And I see some people who say I work better in a high-paced environment, chaos, and all of that. And me, that I am who I am, I go back and look at those things and I said, that's just you saying that because you think that's what we want to
Yeah.
see. Or that's what we want you to do. But that's not true. There's never clarity in chaos.
No,
There's
you
never
survive
clarity
it.
in chaos. You need proper rest. You need to be clear headed. You need to have sound mind for you
Oh
to have
God,
clarity.
sound mind. That's the word.
Yes, for you to
Sound
have
mind.
clarity, you need sound mind. In see, business. Why we've, I don't know if we've always asked ourselves or if we ever asked ourselves why should there be the transactional business thing? Why should there be business in general? Business is a people thing, right? You have to be able to deliver a service satisfactory to someone that they can appreciate and want to pay. And sometimes, in most cases, if you were served properly, you want to tip the person. That's aside from what the fee or charge or due for that service is to you. You want to give more because of how you were
Satisfied.
taken care of, because of your satisfaction. Yes. So it is a human thing that we cannot transact properly if we're wonky, if we're not, if there's no clarity in our mind, if we don't have sound mind. We've all experienced bad services. How did we feel? We felt hurt because we felt we weren't treated properly. But when you're treated properly, you see someone come serve you well, not even in restaurants, even in banking, everywhere, all ramifications of life, anything that has to do with service to human beings. If it's delivered satisfactorily to the receiver, man, there's always joy. I know some people, uh, there are one-off situation where even if you do your best, some people may revolt against you, but the
Yeah,
majority is that you're always appreciated for the good work you've done. And you can't do that without clarity, sound mind, and sufficient rest, as we've been talking about.
Well said. So to add, not really to add to it now, let's look at it from another perspective now.
Okay.
Talking about this being well rested, depending on the task at hand or the project or might be in the workplace or otherwise, how, like, for me, I have this belief that sometimes it's always nice to have boundaries when it comes to your time, your availability, because definitely you have every aspect of life, either work, family, and all that. You have boundaries for each, or maybe for prioritizing plays a part too. Prioritizing, okay, my family comes first, but you need work to keep the home, to keep the
Yeah.
home.
Pay the bills.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, setting boundaries in terms of specific work hours. From this time to this time, I'm available for the job. But after this time till this time, please do not call me. No matter the because but that does not always apply. Or there are some jobs that it does not really apply to,
Yeah.
especially if it's a blue collar kind of job. In terms of okay, let's assume you have a business and the business is a servicing business. It offers services, and it's an upcoming business now, and a client calls you and needs something done during the weekend or on the weekend, and your employee, let's say you have just two employees. One person says, "Oh, I have this family emergency," and this other person says, "I know you're going to pay me, but my job description does not require me to work on the weekends." Although you may want to offer cash incentives or bonuses or whatever, but if you are the owner of that business in that situation, and you know that you've worked this particular employee throughout the week. Now, how do you see that? Do you see it as being selfish, being the business owner, just because you don't want to lose a customer, or What? Because
Yeah.
all we have been saying, we have been talking about it from an employee perspective. How about as an employer perspective?
As that's a good question. It's a really good question. Now, let me ask you a question, and I know it's answering a question with a question. The moment they have enough skills to get another job somewhere else, and people will say, I've done that. I've taken a job that pays less because I just didn't like the environment. If Let me tell you this, unless you're a surgeon and you work on putting hearts together, heart surgery or brain surgery, where there's you only have a limited time to get that job done before somebody loses their lives. There's absolutely no reason when you're off to be taking requests on your no. I'm sorry. I am sorry, but that job can be done tomorrow. It can be done 2 days from now. Now, I can work extra hours during, if I need to, maybe get up early, do a few things more, maybe make more phone calls to get the job rush requests. I can do that. But once I'm off, I'm off. And forcing employees to work, people have lives. They need to rest as well. It's not selfish. It is actually self-respect for an employee to say, when I'm off work, once I'm done, I am done. I don't respond to Teams message. I don't respond to calls from work. If it's work related, I can guarantee you the job will be there. The project will be there. The request will be there tomorrow when I get it. And if you don't appreciate that, then I'm not the employee for you because I need to be well rested. I need to tap into other areas of my life.
No, looking at it from an employer's point of view.
I expect that from the people that report to me. I wouldn't even ask you to do that. I'm not going to disrespect you and say, hey, can you come work? No. I will tell the client, wherever the project is hey, we're just going to have to wait till I have all the staff in place. I'm not even going to, for me, it's a form of disrespect to tell an employee that's trying to spend, because you don't know if they have a sick grandparent they're taking care of, or they know the people that have parents that have been given 6 weeks to leave. And then you're telling them to leave their parents and come work for you. You know how disrespectful that is to that person? I don't care how much you pay that person, they're eventually going to feel unappreciated. And that is going to speed up that process, that timeline to getting burnt out. Because once you start feeling unappreciated, I can guarantee you burnout is right there. So I'm not even going to put them in a position where they will feel unappreciated as an employer, period.
Yes. So, for me, I think it has been like that for a long time where, you know, most employers are just worried or concerned about the work or production or how productive their employees, right, are. And they're also beginning to realize and learn that it is not all about that because if the employees are not there, there's no production.
There's no work.
Well, if you look at it, I think it's sorry to interrupt. I think it's this setting of boundaries is just beginning to evolve now. Because if you look at it from, let's say, the boomers, what do you call it?
The baby
That
boomers.
spectrum, the baby
Yeah.
boomer, the generation, they were of the mindset of, work, because that's how they measure productivity. But it's nowadays children, as in the generations of, let's say, the past two generations, including this one, they are the one that have come up with this. My time is my time. I'll give you your time when it's due. You understand? So now,
Give unto
looking at it-
Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
yeah. Okay,
I will
continue.
just interject right there because I don't think it's all the baby boomers. I think this has to do so. Just like you say, employers are different, regardless of the times of when they, of their existence.
But don't you think we are looking at it from the aspect of because we are in this field, this is what is
No,
predominant.
I'm going to bring an example. That's why I said
Okay.
I've worked with a financial institution which has been there for ages and years. So past even the boomers and all of that. And their culture has always remained the same because they tend to the humanity of the person. And that's when you're hiring someone, like I told you, I've been in positions where I have had to do that. You're not just hiring that person. That person has family. That person has other life. You're trying to, a good employer should look into the totality of the humanity of the person they're hiring. And that's when and how you get a better result. So if you think you're just hiring this person because you want this person to be a machine and do the job and forget about every other thing because you're paying the person, you're joking because that's not how human beings work. Things are going to come up. The human being needs rest. They have family that can, whatever the dynamic of the family, the person's family is at home, can bleed into the work environment, can affect whatever your. That's why now, and before, not even just now, there's always behavioral questions. They ask you scenario questions
the questions,
to
yeah.
understand how you're,
How you function.
yes, how you function, how you make decisions. They even try to tweak the questions to see how you even take care of your business at home somewhat. You understand? They give you scenarios that will want them to know, okay, this person going to be somebody I can hire with sound mind, that I don't have to worry that they can't take care of. Is this person mature enough that they can't take care of their relationship issues? Is it going to affect the work? Missing that is just doing yourself a disservice. And so, like you were asking the question, looking at it from an employer perspective, I think it is not about just now. I think like different corporations and different employers, people are just different. The culture and the way they do things are different. So it is the employer also is the employee's duty as well to also search for where they're going to. So if we're maybe stranded and we're just looking for a job and we just need something, and that's a different situation, then we should understand that, okay, whatever comes, comes. That's what I'll deal with. But if you're really looking for a place you want to grow, you're looking for a place where they're concerned about your well-being. When you walk into some companies now, that's what I said. Now you see, and it's been a culture for a long time, and I know that from my experience from working for old financial institutions. That wellness room is not something that just started today. Some companies have that. I've had that in place, even for a long time. So it is not also always the employer's duty to, you understand, take care of your rest
You have to make
or
it.
make yeah or make provision for your rest time. It is your duty as well as trying to look for a job to also look into the culture of the place you're applying to. How do they treat human beings
Yeah,
first?
there's the work-life balance. Yeah.
Right, that's what people call it now. So yeah.
Wow, interesting. Any last thoughts?
What I would say is when it comes to burnout, when it comes to slowing down, when it comes to resting, they all go hand in hand in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
It starts with self-respect. And there's one thing I cannot stand that I hear all the time. I'm so busy. I can't think. I'm so busy. I have so many things. I'm so busy. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to tell yourself, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z within this time period. Sometimes we call it blocking, time blocking. You know, the first 2 hours you respond to emails and you do X, Y, and Z, and the next 2 hours you do X, Y, and Z, and you just block out time. And when that time is up, you move on to the next task. So you have to look at it from a perspective of I need to take care of me.
Correct.
Because this body is mine and mine alone. No one knows. You don't know how this body feels. I do. So if I can't take care of myself, no one else is going to take care of me. So you need to have respect for yourself, and thinking that just because you're grinding all the time means you're being productive. It's the dumbest thing we've coined, and people say it all the time. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. No, you're irresponsible with your time. That's what that tells me. You have
Yes.
no time management skills. You have no self-respect for yourself. You don't take care of yourself enough. In a way, it's kind of probably not the best word to say, but it's an intelligence thing.
Right.
And highly intelligent people understand that. And when I say intelligent, I'm not talking about just having a high IQ. Just being emotionally aware of what's happening around you. You understand that you can't rev high all the time and expect the system not to have issues after a period of time. So it's one of those things where you have to stop thinking that being overworked and being busy all the time equates to being productive. It doesn't.
Right. And I think the where people may get it wrong is when they think rest is idleness, and it begs for the question: how much rest do we need to have? These people are talking about rest, 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 rest. Do I need to sleep all day to forget about all my worries? Like we said, is intentional stillness.
I need to sleep all day.
Yeah, to
No.
forget about. So how much is this rest we're talking about? Intentional stillness. Like these places we say they have the wellness rooms. They're not. You're still at work, but they're not saying go there and sleep all day. You get fired. It is that time taking out of the work and not thinking about it and zoning out. Let's use it that way, and think. Just let delve into the void of nothingness right now, and don't think about it right now, because more solutions are going to be birthed, and from the silence or the break, and so yeah, I think it is like you mentioned meditation. I do it a lot. Well, in the morning and much more during the day or in the night. It shouldn't be too much of it. Sometimes you can start with 5 minutes, 10, and 15, and as much
Well,
as you need.
how long you do it is all
Your-
tailored to your lifestyle,
your own
right?
lifestyle. So that's why I'm saying the rest we're saying is not because people were going to say how much do we need. That's why I'm saying okay, you can start. Baby steps from 5 minutes. Take that break and be still. Just forget about it.
And that's a good question. How much do you need is based on the activities you're engaged in, right? And how
Right.
quickly you can disconnect from the outside world. That's really the key. It's you disconnecting from the outside world, right?
Or from the task at hand.
Or from the task at hand. Sometimes resting is sleeping. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
I was tired from playing basketball in the morning because I haven't played in so long. I went home, took a 2-hour nap, and I felt great afterwards. Sometimes it's a 15-minute nap. Sometimes it's nothing. It's just relaxing. And sometimes it's reading a book, listening to music,
Right.
cooking your food. That could be rest. Rest is not just
Not taking a walk.
you're taking a walk, What rest looks like depends on the activities, depends on the individual, depends on how your life is structured. But find something that helps you disconnect. That you're not thinking, you're no longer in survival mode, you're no longer thinking about what comes next. You're just being, like you said, being, stillness, the oneness. For those in us on a spiritual journey, we say
Right.
being at one with the universe. That is what rest is, really. Because you can sleep for 10 hours and not be well rested.
Right.
So sleeping is not resting. Resting is resting. And it's hard to tell a person because I like to just listen to music or watch TV and I feel good. The question is, whatever you're doing, do you feel good afterwards? Do you feel rejuvenated? Do you feel like a breath of fresh air when you come out of it? If you don't, then you're not rested. If you, whatever that is for you, you do it. and you do it often, right? And you're better. Your brain functions better anyway. There's no lag. There's no fatigue. There's nothing keeping you all hamped up. You can't rest when you're hamped up, right? So it's wherever rest looks like for you, you do that. But this culture we have right now of just going 100 miles per hour every day, all day, not. It's not logical. It's not. It doesn't even make sense. Maybe for a short period of time, there are people that do that. They'll grind for like real estate agent. They'll grind for 3 months. Just go pedal to the metal for 3 months, and then they'll take a break, and they'll travel, go see the world, and come back and do that. To them, it works, and because of how you're wired, how you're built, how your mind functions, for some people, that is where they need to be. That intense 2-3 months of work, and then they take a month off. That works for them. It doesn't work for everyone. So you kind of have to play with it. It's like you know, it's like Legos kind of a thing. You put it doesn't look good, you take it out, put something back in, and see what works for you. I guess.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you heard it all from your Mel, and I'd like to just a word of encouragement out there. They say everything becomes priority when your health is not in question. So prioritize your health.
Yeah.
And with that, see you next week. Peace out.